Education is not the learning of facts, but the training of the mind to think and the heart to feel. These words by Albert Einstein remind us of the deeper purpose of education, not just to inform, but to instill values that shape character and inspire empathy. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Values in Crisis, a call to action for the future of education and society. Today, we gather to reflect on a crucial question. Are values guiding us, or are we losing them? In light of recent events like the challenges raised by the Archicor issue, our commitment to core values such as integrity, justice, empathy, and responsibility has never been more essential. These values are what anchor us, what guide our decisions, and ultimately what define us as a society. Together, we will explore how these values can empower not only the youth but families, schools, and communities at large. Let us now begin our program. We are honored to have each one of you here sharing in this commitment to values that truly matter. Our theme today is, are values guiding us, or are we losing them? Through this discussion, we hope to spark a meaningful conversation and empower each of us to reaffirm our dedication to the values that will shape our future. Let us now begin the event. I now invite Ms. Ruma Guhonyogi, the principal of Filix School of Education, to deliver the welcome address.
A very good morning. Thank you, Priya. It's really, I'm having a heart which is beating a little faster because I have my wonderful guests here. Firstly, we have Hilda Peacock ma'am. Can we put our hands together? We have teachers from St. Peter's and the students from St. Peter's. They have taken out time to come so far. We have Purba, who is presently in AGPN but is our child from Filix. We have Sharada sir here, who is come miles away and he's always with us whenever needed. We have he's our joint secretary. We have our secretary ma'am, Ranjana ma'am. We have our working president, Bharati ma'am, Dr. Bharati Bakshi. We have our CBSE manager, Mr. Mukherjee. We have doctors here. We have our managing committee members here. And teachers, and most important, who are going to make India a better India, our students. A great applause for all the students here. We have the office staff. I welcome everybody. The topic today is because we want to know what you people will do with the world as it is coming towards somewhere where it's very disappointing, but I know our children are going to enlighten it with lot of values. Maybe at some time we have just missed out some, but we will make up for it. Values don't need a value education school or a class. It's imbibed. It's imbibed by the teachers, by the parents, by the managing committee members, the school, which has a wonderful mission and a vision. Here we don't have any moral science classes, neither do we have value education classes, but when it comes to service to humanity, compassion, respect, sharing, I want to speak of Filix more because I'm here with them. I think at times I am a backbencher there. They have got more compassion, they have got more values, they share, they learn, not because they are taught, because they see. They have seen our children, teachers, they have seen the seniors here. They do it by themselves, whether it's the gift they give during pujas or when they have anything to, any program like Sister Nivedita's birthday, or when they see somebody has not brought their tiffins, or when they see somebody has not got pencils and erasers, we don't have to tell them. That's what I learned from them. That's what I see from them. Or if a child has got a stern warning from any of us, immediately there is another child who says, "Ma'am, he will not do it again, I assure you." I think this is quite enough. Anyway, they'll speak out what they feel. I just welcome you all. We are here just to discuss, to think if we have forgotten, and if we don't know, to learn, and just to recapitulate all what our ancestors had. So welcome again. It's so nice to be here. I am here to learn, and thank you for coming here. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for that warm and insightful welcome. We are now honored to have Miss Hilda Peacock deliver the inaugural speech. As today's moderator, Miss Peacock is not only a distinguished educator, but also a passionate advocate for values in education. Her leadership continues to inspire us all. Ma'am.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning to my honored guests and fellow panelists. Good morning to my fellow teachers. Good morning and welcome to every pupil of Filix and of the visiting schools. Good morning to everyone present in this beautifully spacious, well-built, well-organized venue. Thank you very much for having me here. Thank you very much for allowing me to moderate this event. Much has been said, much has been spoken about the need and the relevance of an event like this, of a symposium like this, and I want to repeat and I want to reiterate what has already been spoken. When we talk about the need for a symposium and a coming together and a sharing of thoughts, I don't think one can say too much. There is a crisis. And I think the first step is to recognize that there is a serious need for all of us to pick ourselves up, shake ourselves off, and look at what we have done wrong. And not just stop there, but come together, put our hearts and minds and thoughts together, correct ourselves, maybe take a step or two backwards, and then only can we move forward as a community of pupils, teachers, and well-wishers. As an English teacher, I'm reminded of the words of the poet Yeats when he said, "Things fall apart, the center cannot hold." I can't think of a time that is more relevant than this. When we look around, we see things truly, truly falling apart. And it's frightening to see this happen. It's not just, you see this in the world of politics, you see this in the world of governance, you see this in the world of climate, lifestyle, sports, people who have been iconic leaders in the past, people who have failed to match up to the standards today. And we can only shrink in fear and ask ourselves, now what? And so it is with that intention that we come together today. And we want to take a good look at ourselves. And we want to ask you, young people, show us the way. We need to correct ourselves. We need to move on. The future is you. And it is you who will now point the way and show us how we need to redirect, we need to refresh, and we need to reroute ourselves. And so this discussion will begin with asking ourselves, where have we gone wrong? What can we do right? And where do we go from here? Speakers, this is to remind you that this is not a competition. Maybe some of the reasons why we have gone wrong is the intense competition where there was absolutely no need. What we need now is less competition and more collaboration. So friends, speakers on both sides, we are not competing with each other. We are bringing to the table all our thoughts and feelings. And just because we need to control the conversation, we will have a timer. I can't see where the timer is. The timer, yeah, right. Who will ring a short bell at the end of 2.5 minutes, and 30 seconds later, at the third minute, a longer bell will be rung. We request you to keep within the time so that everybody gets a fair chance and a fair amount of space to speak and to share. And then we will go on to the next speaker. So I think it's time to start. Without further ado, let's move ahead. And I think it's time to begin. And through it all, remember, the words that you speak will be addressed to the audience, to your fellow classmates and to your fellow schoolmates. There will be no marking or evaluation of a speaker's either points or delivery. Friends, I repeat, this is not a competition. This is a coming together and a sharing of ideas. Let me call upon the first speaker. Is there an order that I may have where speakers come on? If I may have, let me hand over. Then let me hand over to our anchor, who will take this forward. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am, for those inspiring words. Next, we are privileged to hear a poem from Surabhi Chakraborty, a student of Standard 9, Filix School of Education. Surabhi's poetry speaks deeply of today's theme and reminds us all of the importance of values in our lives. Please welcome Surabhi.
Good morning to one and all present here. I am Surabhi Chakraborty from grade 9, and now I shall recite a poem, Lakshmi Bai Came in My Dreams Last Night. I composed this poem to bring Rani Lakshmi Bai's bravery to life and connect it to India's present-day situation. I hope it inspires courage and pride in all of us. Last night, as the stars gleamed, Lakshmi Bai came to me wrapped in moonlight. I stood in awe, heart pounding fast, for the spirits of Jhansi had come from the past. She sat by the fire, her sword by the side. Strange, what I saw was the fear in her warrior eyes. She fought for freedom, justice, and stood up for what was right. Yet, her bravery is haunted by the terrible nights. Her words were a storm and voice too deep as she spoke of innocent lives diminished below feet and the horrors that fill the streets. She bled for India where the other women are bleeding now, ashamed, scared, yet thankful that she will not have to leave the cruel place anyhow. As I held her hand, I felt the weakest are enough to break the strongest into fragments sometimes. She fought for the cries of Indians then, but who will fight for the cries of women today? She questioned. Where is the courage that once filled up the land? She made me think as she faded away again in the moonlight. Thank you.
Thank you, Surabhi, for that heartfelt piece.
Even before we have begun the round of conversation and the event that is to be held, I just want to say that I am so deeply heartened by this recitation. The student has written this poem herself. Well done, well done. There is a glimmer of hope. Thank you. Well begun is half done. Well done.
So, ma'am has said it all. We now move to the panel discussion, the core of our program today. The panel will explore whether our values are still guiding us or if we are losing sight of them. Leading the discussion, we have our moderator, Ms. Hilda Peacock, ma'am. She will introduce today's panelists and set the stage for this important conversation. Please welcome Ms. Hilda Peacock, ma'am, once again as she introduces the panelists.
Thank you very much. To begin this morning's discussion, we have Naitik Majumdar from Filix School. He will be speaking. Will you speak from there? Will you come up to the podium? From there? All right. What are you good? All right. Naitik is in class 9 and he will begin with his opening remarks. Thank you, Naikit.
Good morning to the distinguished guests, principal. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning to distinguished guests, Principal Ma'am, Hilda Ma'am, Aarti Ma'am, Ranjana Ma'am, and all our beloved teachers and friends. Before I start, I would like to ask all of you, have you ever thought what happened to the society we used to know a long time ago? What happened to our values of honesty, trust, and empathy? India has been a country with the richest ethical values derived from our spiritual teachings and moral culture. But in our modern society, those feelings have been eroded in the passage of time. There can be several reasons from globalization to the changing personalities of humans towards individualism and materialistic desires. The influence of society in our current upbringing has resulted in engaging a harmful mindset in us. Let me give you a situation. What if a beggar or poor person comes to you seeking help while you are with your elders walking on the street? What would their reaction to it be? Or how would they want you to behave to that situation? Or have you ever felt that your parents or elders pushing you to act in a manner following the stereotypical gender differences? Although most of us speak of equality, but we can all feel the pressure of age-old mindset that chains us to the society. Just once ask yourself, are we really following the ethics of honesty, empathy, or trust in our current life? Many of us will say that we do follow it as much as possible. But are we sure? Do we really trust our friends or the ones close to us? If it would have been so, then we would be able to rely on one's words rather than making any contracts or keeping proofs. Honesty and trust that was once a celebrated virtue has now been diminished. We don't even care to think for our close ones more than ourselves. Personal gains and aspirations have sidelined empathy. Although we often think, who is really accountable for this? The accountability actually lies with us as well as our family, society, and government, and of course the education system that are responsible for our upbringing. Just look back at your curriculum. You have been taught of academics, how to deal with the problems in your real life. But have you ever been trained to prevent these problems just by improving your relationships and bonds of trust with others? Moreover, corruption and misuse of power has been a growing problem in our country. People we look up to as ideals or the ones in our government are often seen to use their influence to overcome the punishment for the crimes they committed. In these circumstances, the next generation is going to have these ideas embedded in their minds. But who is going to change it? Who is going to solve these problems? Literally, there is no one other than ourselves. There is a solution to every adversity. Every tide that rises is sure to fall. So, it is us who have to stand together and truly be united to make a change beneficial to us. As I conclude, I would like you to pause and think to yourself sometime about the problems occurring in our society, how wrong ideas have been ingrained in our minds, and how we can take the first step towards a better future. Thank you.
Thank you, Naitik. That was a very, very sound opening for this morning's event. Naitik has raised the question of who is responsible. Who is responsible? And he himself has supplied the answer by saying, I am responsible. Singular, I am responsible. Thank you, Naitik. Good opening remarks from you. And this will lead this conversation to a more fruitful level of discussion. Thank you. Thank you, Naitik. We move on to our second speaker for this morning, Vartika Banka. Vartika represents St. Peter's School in Purulia. Vartika is in class 9.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Vartika Banka from St. Peter's School, class 9. And today I've got this golden opportunity to speak among you all on a very important topic. My topic is values in times of crisis, a call to action for the future of our education and society. First of all, I would like to begin my speech by pointing out a very big problem, a very big crisis. Yes, I am talking about the Arjikar incident. The incident has greatly affected all Indians. The incident is a starking reminder of how the erosion of morality has affected our education, students, and society. I believe that we can come together and fix this. At times of crisis, our moral values are bedrock that holds us together. I believe that we are dependent on just that. Lacking humanity and unable to make perfect decisions is a common thing now. I feel that morality has no space in the society today. I feel that we are unable to give it proper space where it should have the most space. I believe that if our teachers come together and our education centers come together and decide to make morality as a part of our education and give it equal importance as our curriculum, I believe that we can fix this problem. I believe that a good student is not only defined by his or her knowledge, but also by his or her behavior, by his or her way to deal with other people and problems. Thank you.
Thank you, Vartika. Vartika came out with a very, very important point. She said all decision making must be rooted in morality. And I'm going to say that again. All decision making must be rooted in morality. She opened her speech with that remark. And then she went on to shift the responsibility onto the teachers. Teachers in the audience, please take note. She said, who is responsible? It is teachers and the education system. Thank you, Vartika. I do accept it. The role of the teacher in society is immeasurable. So that was a tweak for all of us, a rap on the knuckles. All teachers who have been all of us who have been failing in our duties, please sit up and take note. And then she concluded by saying, academic worth, academic prowess is not the only measure of a good student. A good student, academic worth is important, thank you. And this must be combined with a certain morality or ethics, and therefore a call. She ended on this note. She said, we call for moral science and value education back into our curriculum. So all decision makers and policy makers in this gathering, please note, bring back moral science, bring back value education into our school curriculum. Thank you, Vartika. That was very forthright of you. From this, no, not from the same school, I'll call upon Ankita Mukhopadhyay of class 10 from Filix. Ankita, you will please come up to the podium and express your viewpoint.
Good morning to one and all present here. I am Ankita Mukhopadhyay from grade 10. Today I want to discuss about a very important topic that is bothering all of us in everyday life. Values. Have not we heard of this term since our early childhood? Yes, of course we have. Values are something that people consider important in their lives and what motivates their behavior. No one can disagree that we have been taught values from childhood, both at schools and home. Sometimes, girls may feel insecure or uncomfortable of the unwanted attention that they get while traveling. There is no gain if a person forgets his or her moral values, irrespective of being educated. Books teach us certain things, but does everything really work out in reality? After all, moral values reflect our behaviors and our behaviors reflect our personalities. Several kinds of issues are visible around us. But do we really think how to solve them? Rather, we discuss about it and gossip about it. Also, in classes, students discuss and make fun of these issues which may be very sensitive to someone. So we have lost our moral values to this extent that we mock about it. I think we are losing our moral values in the face of systemic failure. Till today, we face issues related to discrimination, gender inequality, poverty, and practice of illegal activities. Secondly, we know that doctors heal us, but now we are aware that they also need a back support. Like the case of Arjika shook the whole world while it happened. But now, do we really find anyone discussing about it anymore? Are these really what our values taught us? The small moral value of sharing and caring, being empathetic, are gradually flying away with the time. This has lost their importance in our life. Teenagers are expected to achieve higher grades and have a good academic record. Grades may define us in education sectors, but it is the moral values that we carry in our lives. As a teenager, we should learn to observe the world around us and find out the solutions of the issues. As the future citizens, we should take the initiative to make people aware of these. It is never late to start anything good. We all are born as empty vessels which can be shaped by moral values. So why not to do so? No moral value is greater than humanity. So better, let us begin with it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ankita. I stand amazed at the deep insight our young people have. Again, the second speaker who talked about education is not equal to character. Just piling up degrees, piling up educational achievement does not make good character. Good character is born out of values. And all three of our speakers thus far have emphasized this. Full marks to them who have realized this so early in their life. And I think Ankita has given us some sort of a roadmap when she used the word observe, look around, seek, search, and initiate, begin. And then she went on to say, the begin, age no bar. It's never too late to begin. I think this is very, very heartening for all of us to note. It is still not too late. We have sunk very deep into a quagmire of corruption. And yet it is not too late to pick ourselves up, dust ourselves off, and move on. Thank you so much, Ankita. That was very, very heartwarming. I move on to Purba Sarkel. Purba represents class 11 from AGPN school in Purulia. Purba Sarkel, over to you.
Good morning to one and all present here. Firstly, I must spell out this that I am very thankful to be sitting here in this panel and meeting my earlier teachers, the faces that I have missed a lot in my new school. And as Principal Ma'am used to say that this is our second family, our second home. And all the people who are part of this family, I am very thankful to them. Next, since we have limited time, I cannot express this, how thankful I am, but I should start with the topic that today, as we have gathered here to speak on something that deeply affects not only our communities, but also our own individual paths in life. The role of values in the time of crisis. Crises are moments that are the very foundations of our beliefs, forcing us to confront what we stand for and what we are willing to protect. The recent RG Corps gave us a stark reminder of this. It was led by a very critical question. That is also the topic of today, that are our values still guiding us, or are we drifting away from the moments when we need it the most? Values like respect, integrity, compassion, justice are the bedrock of strong communities for centuries. They shape the way we treat one another, how we Indians have always been through these paths. In the time of crisis, these values should act as a moral compass, guiding us through turbulent waters.
However, there are times when we seem to lose sight of them with anger, fear, or misunderstanding. Overshadows the principle of the ones that united us earlier. In moments of tension, division, we often witness the erosion of respect for one another and a rise of blame and hostility. This is when we need the values the most, not just to give us direction, but to bring us together. It's easy to stick to values in times of peace, but the true character of a person is shown in the turbulent times. The question now is, are we allowing our values to guide us and our actions, or are we letting our immediate reactions dictate what we are standing for? Have we become so caught up in the heat of the moment that we have forgotten the larger principles that bind us? What happened in the RG Corps challenges us to reflect on our own actions and whether they align with the values we claim to uphold. Are we speaking up for justice, showing compassion, and seeking truth? Or are we building understanding and fostering peace? In crises like this, the choice is ours. We can either let our values be our guide or we can abandon them, risking not only our own integrity but the face of our society. Let's remember that the true test of values is not when times are easy, but when they are hard. Let us be guided by the principles of compassion, respect, and justice, even when it's difficult. Thank you.
That was Purba Sarkil. Welcome back, Purka. It's good to see you on campus. We are proud of you. Purba raised a very important question and provided the answer. She asks us whether our values have been diluted. And she herself has given the answer. She has said, anger, fear, and stress cloud our vision. See, when we know the cause of what the problem is, it becomes easier to correct it. Then she went on to say that if our vision is clouded by anger, fear, and stress, then it is our personal responsibility. She has not shoved the responsibility on anybody else. It is not the education system. It is not the systemic failure. It is I, me, myself who have the power to correct and change. She concluded by saying, it is only in a crisis that character is created. Thank you very much, Purba. That was very, very insightful. Thank you very much. I will call upon our next speaker, Manishtita Datta, Filix School, Class 9.
Good morning, respected Principal Ma'am, Hilda Ma'am, Ranjana Ma'am, Bharati Ma'am, teachers, my fellow peers, and distinguished guests. My name is Manishtita Datta, and I am a student from grade 9. Today I want to talk about something that's been bothering me lately. The RG Corps issue has made me question the values that our society, education system, and healthcare are built on. As a young person, I am struggling to make sense of it all. As teenagers, we are constantly told to focus on our studies, get good grades, and secure our future. But it feels like we are losing sight of what truly matters. Personally, I am facing a crisis and struggling to balance my own priorities. I want to do well in school, but I also want to be true to myself. I am constantly wondering, what's the point of getting good grades if I am not making a difference? I am scared that we are becoming desensitized to the struggles of others. We are more focused on our own success than on helping those around us. I am worried that we are becoming a generation that values likes and followers over meaningful relationships, material possessions over people's feelings, and success at any cost rather than success with integrity. Currently, all our values are in crisis. We are witnessing truth being sacrificed for convenience, empathy being replaced with apathy, justice being compromised for personal gain, and responsibility being shrugged off for instant gratification. This erosion of values is exemplified in the RG Corps issue, where we see profits being prioritized over people's lives. It is a stark reminder that we need to call a spade, to speak truth to power, to challenge injustice, and to stand up for what's right. As Rabindranath Tagore once said, অন্যায় যে করে আর অন্যায় যে সহে তব ঘৃণা তারে যেন তৃণ সমদহে, or the one who commits a crime and the one who allows it, let disgust burn them both like charred grass blade. This powerful quote highlights the importance of accountability, not just for those who perpetrate injustice, but also for those who remain silent. In the face of eroding values, we must realize that silence is complicity. By staying silent, we allow injustice to thrive. We must call out wrongdoing, even if it's uncomfortable. So, what can we do? We can start by being more mindful of our actions, and we can start by standing up for what's right, even if it's hard. We can choose to listen to others, even if we disagree. We can choose to prioritize empathy and compassion. We need to create a world where education is about growth, not just grades. Healthcare is about healing, not just profits. And society is about community, not just individual success. Let's empower ourselves, our families, and our communities to uphold and protect values like integrity, justice, empathy, and responsibility. Let's create a world where these values guide us towards positive changes. The solution to this problem lies in our collective willingness to keep talking about it, to keep questioning, to keep seeking answers until we find a way to restore the values that truly matter. As they say, a country with children who can't question their elders becomes a society of adults who can't question their leaders. Thank you.
Thank you, Manishita. That was marvelous. Absolutely, absolutely. Well worded, well spoken, and you provided perfect solutions. Let me just sum up. Manishita spoke about grades more important than character. It's amazing, boys and girls, how many of your fellow students have said this. Grades are not as important as character. Character building then becomes the purpose of education. She went on to talk about the power of social media, the influencers, the ratings, and TRPs mattering more than conscience and accountability. She used this wonderful, powerful phrase about being able to speak truth to power. That is, being unafraid and therefore be accountable, stand up, speak up, build a spine. We're talking a lot about spines these days. And she has called for integrity in a collective conscience. So not just the individual, but us as a group being able to have a conscience that is active and working. She also spoke about it is not the bad who are bad. It is the silence of the good who compound the evil. So it is not being positively bad, but when bad is happening, when evil surrounds us, to be quiet, to be silent, is to be complicit. It means I am in agreement with what is going on. And so the resolution is stand up, speak up, be accountable. Thank you. That was very, very powerful. I will now call upon our next speaker, Shreyoshi Goren, St. Peter's School, Class 9. Shreyoshi, over to you.
Good morning to everyone present here. I am Shreyoshi Gorai from Class 9 of St. Peter's School. Would like to give a speech today on the topic values in time of crisis. Today's fast-paced time is carrying away our societal norms. To be kind was a necessity in the previous days, but today conflict is the new normal. It was believed that service to mankind is service to God. But who is interested to serve nowadays? Everyone just wish to be served. People have become excessively self-centered and focus on nothing but their own profit. Academic success is actually considered superior to all values in a student, whether it be extracurriculars or their own moral values which constitute their personality. Recent societal crises like the RG issue call for action. Shaping dried clay is easier, but shaping wet clay is easier, but shaping dried clay is never possible. Similarly, we children, we students can be shaped to a better future. I believe institutes and schools institutes and schools mainly focus and aim at avoiding conflicts and controversial topics within students, which causes a major problem. That is, we students are not only unaware of how to solve the issue, but also we are completely unaware and unfamiliar with the issue itself. We are unfamiliar with how the issue begins, how it happens, and how it ends. This needs to be changed. I believe and I feel that teachers and other mentors must focus on familiarizing issues within the students and thus inducing critical thinking within students, which might lead to better solutions to the ones we are using today. Thank you.
Thank you, Shreyoshi. Thank you so much. Shreyoshi called for kindness. She began her opening lines by calling for kindness and a need to serve, not just to be at the receiving end, but to be willing and able and ready to give. She critiqued how so many of our institutions are run only for profit. And profit is the only motive, forgetting that there are far greater and deeper needs in society. Then she said, the time to act is now, when the clay is wet. What a beautiful metaphor. When you use young lives and compare them to wet clay that can be shaped and can be molded. Then she raised a very important issue when she talked about there is no adequate awareness. And it is the role of the teacher, all of us here in school communities, to create an awareness, to help our children to know what the needs of society are. And she didn't say it, but I'm saying it on her behalf, to factor this into our syllabus as part of our critical thinking. So now our critical thinking questions, all of us teachers on this panel, work in the critical thinking questions not into the textbook, but out of society and out of real life, and call for what we are now labeling PR, a personal response. When you see a situation, what is your personal response? And in doing so, then we go back to our previous speaker, we build a collective conscience. She said the days of non-confrontationalism is over. No longer can we hide away or shy away from an issue. The time is now for us to stand up and speak up. I just want to congratulate every one of the speakers thus far who has called upon the need for schools to show the way for society to move in the right direction. And I'll go back to the Kothari Commission report, which says the destiny of India is being shaped in its classrooms. Teachers, you and I, we have in our hands the destiny of India. And today these children have more and more emphasized this point. Thank you, and may I call upon our next speaker, Shaumali Sengupta of Filix School. Shaumali is in class 8.
Good morning to one and all present here. I'm Shaumali Sengupta from grade 8. I'm really glad to be here and talk about some of the things young people, the teenagers, go through these days. We all face some kind of problems, especially when the values which are propagated to us, the values which are supposed to guide us, are being forgotten. We are all taught to be fair and honest in our lives, but is it really being followed in all over? People are raising their voices for injustice and unfairness. People are getting killed for it, but isn't it our values? Then why is it being snatched away from us? Why is injustice all over? Isn't it supposed to be the opposite? Let's talk about honesty. Honesty. Being honest means true to ourselves and also to the world. But are we? So many of us feel like we have to change how we act just to fit in. When we lose honesty, it weakens our self-respect and makes it hard to trust anyone. If we can't be true to who we are, whom are we being true to? We end up feeling lost, disconnected, and even more pressured. Kindness should be the simplest thing, but today, things like body shaming and judgmental comments make it hard to find. With a platform as big as social media, it's easy to snap comments. It is harsh comments, a platform made for our benefits, makes us feel insecure and judged when it's supposed to be not. Though the comments may seem small, but lesser known is the impact on a person. If kindness were a bigger part of everyday lives, people would not feel the constant urge to change and feel more accepted. A small kind of actness can go a long way. Fairness is about treating everyone equally with respect. But are we really doing that? People get judged for simple things like having different opinions than the queue. Someone might have a different opinion, but who are we to judge them? If we want a fairer world, it starts with us. Now, let's question ourselves. Is this the place we dreamed of? A place full of injustice and dishonesty? No, right? These values aren't just words, but building blocks of a better future. At the end of the day, let's remember it starts with us. We are all in this, so let's build a better world with even slightest actions of awareness. Thank you.
Thank you, Shaumali. Impassioned speech. Shaumali has touched on three qualities, three values. She began by talking about honesty, and she said honesty to oneself is the first and probably the only step in creating an honest world. And I'm reminded of the words of Shakespeare in Hamlet when he said, "This above all, to thine own self be true, and thou canst not be false to anyone." If you're true to yourself, you will not be able to be false to anyone. Then she called for kindness. And what I like very much, she talked about kindness in words. And she gave the example of body shaming. How do we use words? To break down or to build up? And that is a really, really important value that all of us and every one of us, we communicate with each other. How are we using words? Finally, she called upon fairness or justice. Being fair, being right. And she termed it very well. She said it means treating everyone equally. And what a simple and powerful definition of justice that is. She concluded by saying, then who does it? I do it. So back to the words of Emma Watson, who said, if not now, when? If not me, who? Thank you, Shaumali. That was very, very well spoken. Thank you. I will call upon our next speaker, Pranama De, who is a teacher in the Filix School of Education. Pranama teaches? Pranama, you're an English teacher. He's a primary teacher who teaches English.
Good morning, Principal Ma'am. Good morning, Hilda Ma'am, Ranjana Ma'am, Sharda Sir, Bharti Ma'am, and the respected members present here. At this point, we have already seen what crisis we are facing. But I'll ask you to just take a minute and think, are we in real crisis? Is it really fading away from us? Or is it just evolving? Are the values, these values are evolving around us? Younger generations, like you people, are reshaping them. Maybe it's high time to question how we can embrace this reshaping of our evolving values, how we can embrace them, how we can practice them. It's a high time to think right now. Values like honesty, like empathy are the bedrock of our society. They built our society centuries after centuries. And now, in this fast driven world, maybe we are driven only by the technology and materialistic success, and we are forgetting to think something which is outside ourselves. We are so self centric that we are losing these values. Maybe it is us. We need to focus. As a teacher, I want to say that it is true that our duty is not only to teach you, but also to transmit these values. We are the value transmitters of the society. We are the ones, yes, but you are also the ones. We all should think and we all should a step ahead, and we should take the responsibility of inculcating and taking forward these values which is already present within us. The respect, the responsibilities, the integrities, we need to create an environment which is safe, which is sound for everyone. And as a student, I want you not only to focus on the academics, but also to the personality. And it only can be catered if we can focus on these values. If we focus and if we think that yes, I have to do, we all have to think. No one is going to bring the change until we focus on it as an individual. So, at last, I just want to say, as Mahatma Gandhi said, be the change you wish to see in the world. Take time and let us think what we can do to make this feeding values, to inculcate again in our societies, again within ourselves, within our communities. Thank you.
Thank you, teacher. Thank you, Miss. Pranama Miss said, the crisis is not concluded. We are still evolving, and there is time for us to regroup and change and reshape. And she called for sympathy and empathy. She puts heavy blame on the rise of materialism and added to the growing dependence on technology for the current state of selfishness and self-centeredness. And therefore, she said, it is the duty of the teacher, it is the duty of academic institution to transmit values and create a collective responsibility. I, of course, you, we, together, we can create a change. And she ended with that beautiful quote, be the change you want to see. Thank you, Miss. Thank you so much. I will call upon our concluding speaker for today, Rick Chowdhury from Filix School. He is class 10.
Good morning, everyone. I am Rick Chowdhury, a grade 10 student. Today I want to talk about something really important: kindness, honesty, and respect. These values matter a lot, especially when it feels like we are facing so many problems around us. Every day we hear about new issues that can really get us down, whether it's something happening in our schools, on the news, or even in our neighborhoods. It can feel like we are on a roller coaster of challenges, where just when we think that things are getting better, something else goes wrong. Let's think about the RG Core issue for a moment. It shows us how easy it is to forget what really matters. We get so caught up in all the noises that we lose our own sight of our own values. Kindness, honesty, and respect are not just nice words. They are essential tools that can help us break free from the cycle of negativity. Remember, when we ignore injustice, we become the part of it. It's our responsibility to stand up and create a change. Imagine if we all tried to be a little kinder to each other. What if we listened more and judged less? Just one act of kindness can inspire someone else to do the same. It's like a chain reaction. Suddenly, we are not just stuck in a cycle of problems. We are creating a new cycle of positivity and support. But here's the thing, it's not always easy. We live in a world that often pushes us to put ourselves first, to compete rather than collaborate. It's tempting to get swept up in that mindset. But if we want to change the narrative, we have to be the ones who set up and say, no more. We have to be the change makers, the ones who stand firm in their own values, even when it's challenging. I know there are times when we feel frustrated or unsure. We might wonder if our efforts really matter, but they do. Every time we choose to be kind or honest, we are making a difference. We are saying we believe in a better future. And it's not just about us as an individual. It's about building a community that supports each other. When we lift each other, we create a place where everyone feels valued and heard. That's how we can start to change things for the better. So as we go through our lives, whether we are seniors or juniors, let's promise to be those who inspire change. Let's hold on to our values and encourage others to do the same. Together, we can create a wave of positivity that breaks the cycle of negativity and make a brighter future for all of us. Thank you for listening. Let's make a difference together.
Thank you, Rick. Rick has spoken with great appeal about kindness, loyalty, respect. And he has actually given us practical ways in which we can do it. So it was just not a lot of words. He said, listen more, judge less. That is powerful. Then he said, let us collaborate to lift each other up. Once again, these are extremely doable in school situations, in the communities that we come from and represent. He went on to say, enough of competition, let us collaborate. So here we are doing just that. This is not a competition. We are collaborating. He said, make a difference. He called for faith and he said, let us break the cycle of negativity. Full marks to you, Rick. Well done. Very well done indeed. Thank you. And I will now call, we have a closing song, I believe. And then, all right. So then just before we go into that concluding part of this morning session, let me just sum up very, very briefly. I've been talking all morning, so I'll just say this. Everyone has spoken about the need to recognize that there's a problem. And right on top of the list came the RG Kaur incident. See, boys and girls, what I want to say to you, yes, the RG Kaur incident was what we call the last straw that broke the camel's back. You know that fable? That somebody was adding one straw by one straw on a camel. And the camel is a strong animal. The camel was able to take that load, take that load, take that load, take that load. And then one more straw they added when the camel was truly overloaded. And that one straw, the camel collapsed. It wasn't that one straw that broke the camel's back. It was the load of straws. And that last straw did it. I see the RG Kaur incident like that. It was the last thing that overflowed and boiled over. The pot has been simmering for years, for decades, where we have seen corruption at all levels. This is not a political speech, boys and girls. This is universal. This is applying all over. In our state of West Bengal, the RG Kaur blew into a people's movement, where we had young boys and girls, we had old men and women, we had children out on the streets saying we want justice. And then all of us, teachers, educators, seniors, realize that look, this is too bad, we have to do something about it. And so Filix School of Education has decided to bring young minds together, to bring teachers and educators together and say, yes, we have gone wrong. Let us admit. Let us not go into denial. Let us not prevent everything is hunky-dory, everything is well. Everything is not well. But there's no point sitting around and moaning and saying, oh, we are so bad, we have lost, we have... We are in crisis. I repeat, we admit failure, we take responsibility, and then move forward. And today we have gathered here together as a community of students and pupils and teachers and senior people in the profession, senior people in other professions, and say, yes, we admit we have gone wrong. What can we do? And what we can do has come out of this gathering today. And I know people are recording it, and we will document this, and we will definitely put it to good use. So we have taken the first step. We have been called to observe, to seek, to initiate. We have been told that anger and fear cloud our vision. We have been reminded that it is not the action of the bad, but the silence of the good. Because when you are silent and you do not speak out, then silence is complicity. Silence is consent. And so we have been called, we have been challenged almost to rise up and speak out, to create awareness. And the responsibility has been taken by ourselves as students. Yes, we are responsible, but the responsibility has also been put on teachers and say, you take care. And help us to understand that grades does not build character. Grades will not ensure good human beings. It will only make you what C.S. Lewis calls a clever devil. You become very clever, but you will be without a good, sound character. I conclude today by saying that pupils, we are very, very deeply impressed. I can see that you are ready for change. You're willing to take responsibility, and you're absolutely able to carry this thing forward. So blessings on each one of you. God bless you, and may you really make a change in this beautiful country that we call India. Well done. God bless you all. Closing song, I will call upon our school choir who will lead us in, where is Paulami? Oh, Paulami only. Oh, school choir. Yeah.
Make me a channel of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me bring your love. When there is injury, your pardon, Lord. And when there's doubt, through faith in you. Oh, Master, grant that I may never see so much to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love with all my soul. Make me a channel of your peace. When there's despair in life, let me bring hope. When there is darkness, only light. And when there's sadness, ever joy. Oh, Master, grant that I may never see so much to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love with all my soul. Make me a channel of your peace. Thank you.
Boys and girls, let us stand up for our school song. Let's stand up for the school song.
Filix, children, we are here today to learn, to share, to work and play. We are like the tender little plants, and we want to know the way. Teach us to be honest
Thank you. Please be seated, and I will call upon Uzma to propose the vote of thanks.
Education is what remains after one has forgotten what one has learned in school. This thought by Albert Einstein reminds us that true learning goes beyond facts. It is about instilling values that stay with us for life. Respected dignitaries, esteemed guests, teachers, and dear friends, as the member of the Filix family, it is my privilege to express our gratitude on this important occasion. I would first like to extend heartfelt thanks to Ms. Hilda Peacock ma'am for moderating this insightful discussion. Her guidance has helped us to navigate the complexities of values and their importances in our lives. A sincere thank you to our respected principal, Ms. Ruma Guho Nyogi ma'am, for her constant support and for welcoming us with her inspiring words. Your leadership shapes the foundation of our education and values. We are also deeply grateful to Ranjana ma'am and Bharti ma'am for all the efforts they put in to bring us the best and to shape us into responsible citizens. Your dedication leaves a lasting impact on our lives. A warm thank you to Surabhi Chakraborty for sharing her beautiful poetry which sets the perfect tone for the event. To our distinguished panelists, Natik Majumdar, Vartika Banka, Ankita Mukhopadhyay, Purva Shorkhel, Manishita Datta, Shreyoshi Gorai, Shomili Sengupta, Pranama ma'am, and Reek Chaudhary. We thank you for sharing your perspectives. Your insights are valuable lessons for us as we strive to uphold integrity, empathy, and responsibility in our own lives. I would also like to acknowledge Munshi sir and Vikas sir for their invaluable contributions to our studies. Your commitment to our growth, both academically and personally, is something we hold in high regard. Let me conclude with a quote from Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. To succeed in your mission, you must have single-minded devotion towards your goal. Let us carry out today's insight with us and stay devoted to our values and growth. Thank you.
Today I was a listener, and I'm touching my heart, and true to my heart, I didn't realize until I heard you all that you've got so much to tell us. Thank you for that, my dear children from St. Peter's, Purba, and children from Filix. Thank you so much. It's just the first session. After this, we have our other stakeholders, that's parents, who will be here, and we'll have Sharada sir who will be speaking to us. We'll have other guests also and teachers. So till now we have seen the tiny buds which are going to bloom as citizens, and as Hilda ma'am has said, as Ranjana ma'am has planned out this panel session, and as teachers, I'm at least at peace that we have got very wonderful people going to be flowers, who are going to be better citizens, who are going to have a wonderful society, which we dreamt of. It will be fulfilled. So we meet at 1:30 sharp here for the next session. Thank you.
Thank you all. Just for the issue, because we are gathering here for the article issues, my dear children, don't mention the name. It is in the Supreme Court, so we should not mention the doctor's name. That is why we called Avaya, Tilottama, whatever. Thank you very much. Thank you.